Welcome. We are here with David Mukomana, the regional chair for Africa for Apimondia. And we are very glad and proud for having you here, David. And just to start, first thing first, I'd like you to introduce a little bit who you are and what Apimondia is doing in your wonderful continent.
No, thank you very much, Mauricio. My name is David Mukomana from Zimbabwe. I represent Africa, the African continent, on Apimondia, the International Federation of Beekeepers Associations, as the Regional Commission for Africa President. Yes, indeed, Apimondia is doing quite a lot in Africa, and we are really delighted that Africa has become part of the global beekeeping family, and we are really excited that a lot of opportunities are being opened through the work of Apimondia.
Thank you very much. I'm here in my office, and by chance, I have a piece of Africa as a background, but it's just an occasion, a circumstance, and I didn't do it on purpose. This year is a special year because we know that the World Bee Day this year will be held in Ethiopia by FAO and the United Nations, and Apimondia will be there. And it is an historical moment for Africa somehow. Can you tell me what, from your view, from your point of view, this means for the whole Africa?
Indeed, this is historic for us. Firstly, since the inception of World Bee Day celebrations, the event has been held in Rome at the FAO headquarters, and a decision has been made to rotate the event around the globe. And it is such an honor that the first World Bee Day celebrations are being celebrated on the African soil. So to us as Africa, this is really a landmark event. It's going to help many African stakeholders to appreciate that the importance of bees has visited us through this global event happening in Ethiopia, and we'll be able to appreciate more what we can benefit from our African bees.
And can you please tell us what the World Bee Day is for the whole world?
I think we really celebrate and thank the Slovenian colleagues for this wonderful initiative, because it was necessary for us to have the recognition of such an important animal in our lives, not only from a food production point of view, not only from a nutritional point of view, not only from an economic point of view, but even in terms of conserving our environment. So having this initiative being championed by Slovenia came at the right time, and we're privileged to be part of the generation that has seen this recognition of the bees in our own time, and we want to do everything it takes to promote this message, because we need the bees, and we need to protect them for us to be able to have a sustainable life as human beings.
Let me say, Apimondia is the largest and oldest international federation of beekeepers, and you, as a federation, have an impact in the whole world, essentially in all the continents. But can you please tell me what tangible impact has the federation and its initiatives to protect beekeepers and to improve, especially to improve the beekeeping practices in the wilderness of Africa?
No, thank you very much. I think the first point that I would want to raise in terms of impact is a landmark decision that was made by Apimondia to expand the Executive Council to have a representation across the globe. This has seen Africa also being represented at the Apimondia Executive Council, meaning that the aspirations, the voices the concerns of the African beekeepers are taken into account at the highest level. So for me, this is a landmark, and we are seeing quite a lot of movements that are happening positive, for that matter, at an accelerated rate in terms of embracing beekeeping, not only as a viable commercial business, but as a way of even conserving our natural forests that we're losing, if we're to look at the statistics that are provided even by FAO, where Africa is said to be losing up to 4 million hectares per year, which is almost double the rate of deforestation for the whole globe. So we are seeing quite a lot of positive development with the visibility of Apimondia as the global organization that promotes beekeeping and the interest of beekeepers. So yes, that's one example I can give. Now, if also to look at now access of African stakeholders to global discussions, this is really a landmark impact that has really transformed the continent of Africa and how we are interacting with our bees. We have seen a remarkable level of participation from African stakeholders at international events, which really has helped, because when we get information, you get more informed, and the decisions that are made are really sustainable and contribute positively to livelihoods of many households. And the third point that I would want to raise, Mauricio, is the fact that we've seen a marked increase in number of African countries or associations joining the global Apimondia family. I'll give example of South Africa, Ethiopia, Zambia, DRC, Tanzania, Somalia, Cote d'Ivoire, Nigeria, Burkina Faso, Egypt. A list goes on, and we even have Mozambique Minister of Agriculture joining because we have seen the increase in demand of more information about how beekeeping can transform the African landscape. So yes, there is quite a lot. The list is endless that I can talk of in terms of the impact that Apimondia has made in the lives of many African households. The other point that I can also raise is to do with the state increase in apiculture meetings or seminars or workshops that are happening across the globe and across the continent. And these are forums that are provided to bring stakeholders together to discuss about what is happening within the sector, how they can improve, or how can they adopt technologies that would help improve livelihoods through beekeeping, how we can conserve our natural forests around Africa. So yes, there is quite a lot that has happened. And also, if you look at the partnership between Apimondia and FAO, we have seen development of a visual manual for use by beekeepers, those that are semi-literate, so that they're not left behind, because information need to be disseminated in whatever form. So these are some of the things that we're seeing positive impacts and results as a result of the Apimondia brand being visible on the African continent.
Thank you very much, David. Can you please help me to understand the magnitude of the phenomenon? I mean, how large is the beekeeping community in Africa?
Yeah, no, this is $1 million question. What is a number of beekeepers in Africa? I think this is one of the issues we are actively trying to address at a regional level, to say let's have an inventory of the number of beekeepers and the number of hives that we have, and the extent to which local beekeepers, be it at a household level or at a community level or at association level and up to national level, how much they're producing, so that informed decisions are made. And we had even another initiative that we did with FAO on daddies, where we did some survey of such to get such information, including the number of bees, the number of beekeepers, say in Botswana. But what I can confirm is that we have many households, because beekeeping has been practiced for many generations across Africa, but this has not been recognized as a profession. Hence, the inventory or the number of, or the statistics in terms of the number of beekeepers is still informal and seriously understated. So I think in the next 3, 4, 5 years, we'll be able to answer that question as to the number of beekeepers in Africa. But I can just give a few countries as an example. In Ethiopia, we've got more than 1 million beekeepers. In Tanzania, we've got more than 1 million beekeepers. In Kenya, we have more than 500,000 beekeepers. No, these are just examples that I can give. So this is a sector that is an activity at a household level, and majority of the African households are engaging in, or have been engaging in. And we need to get to a point where, with information being disseminated, that this can be adopted as a sustainable livelihood. We need to have this information formally collected by the national associations or ministers of agriculture or ministers of natural resources. Will then be able to have formal reports that we can provide in terms of the exact number of beekeepers in Africa. But I will tell you that we have millions and millions of beekeepers across the African continent.
So in other words, you're saying that there are millions of people that are putting food on the table also thanks to the bees.
Yes, totally. I can give you a number of examples. 3 years ago, there was an article that even included in one of the reports that we did from a regional point of view. An old man, I think he's now around 89, in the Kitui County in Kenya, who is quoted to have said he has never tilled his farm, being a subsistent, living in the rural communities, but he sent all his kids to school. He bought food for his kids. He made sure that their health welfare is good through money he earned from beekeeping. This is a classic example of someone who is even more than 80 years testifying that beekeeping has indeed been putting food on many households' tables. And with the efforts that are being made by a number of development partners, I can tell you that we are having families that are proud of having sent their kids to school, up to university, through beekeeping. Just recently, with one of the initiatives that the Regional Commission for Africa has done, that is Beekeeping in Schools initiative, we had the pilot project at Muzokomba High School in Buhera, Zimbabwe, where kids were trained to do beekeeping, and one of them, started paying his fees from Form 2 up to Form 6 from money that was earning from beekeeping. And interestingly, he gave the testimony of his life at the third Apimondia Africa Regional Symposium in Durban, South Africa, in March 2023. So there are examples that we can give that really testify that indeed beekeeping is making a difference in people's lives in Africa.
And yeah, and I was thinking that, Africa is a wonderful continent, but very often there is social turbulence almost everywhere. And I'm just wondering, do you think that beekeeping can help in terms of social impact also in other way, the people do you think that bees can help the people to live better in your country? And in this case, specifically talking about biodiversity, talking about climate change, talking about social inclusivity, how the bees can be related, to these big global challenges.
I can assure you that our communities have been transformed, if I can put it that way, through beekeeping. We have seen quite a lot of things that have really changed. I will give a very good example. We have this some communities that have got this culture that women, it is a taboo for a woman to be seen holding a hive, let alone to own it. But we've seen a lot of empowerment of women that has broken that cultural barrier because we have so many communities with women run beekeeping projects that have been very, very successful, that actually successful business cases that we're proud to talk of as an African continent. The other examples that I can give, I've already alluded to the fact that we've seen a number of families having their social statuses actually changing. I'll give a very good example of Mr. Baraka, who is a stingless beekeeper in Kilimanjaro region of Tanzania, who was just an ordinary peasant farmer, but he embarked on stingless beekeeping. Now he has got more than 1,500 stingless bee colonies, and his life has transformed. What is very exciting is that in 2014, when we had the regional symposium with the Apimondia Secretary General attending, he visited that beekeeper, and he was amazed when he went back 2 years ago, to see the massive transformation that had happened. So these are some of the live examples that we can give that would really testify that beekeeping has transformed the social strata of Africa.
Yeah, and I am a witness of that because, as you know, we are going to be shooting in Tanzania a story of a woman, a wonderful story of this lady that started to be of concrete help in the Maasai community. So
Yes.
Maasai historically is a community where the men are at the center of the economy, and
Yes.
they were controlling everything. But recently, cause, for example, in this case of climate changes, the big cat became a threat, for the cattle, which was the main source of surviving for that. And so women
Yes.
had to start to put food on the table. And this wonderful lady that we are going to tell in this story started a little enterprise with some hives in Tanzania, I am in wow. It's wondering how these things can really happen and really can make difference in the daily life of the people, especially in rural area.
No, you're spot on. And what is interesting is that the society I was talking about, where it was a taboo for a woman to hold a hive, is the Maasai community. And now that example that you're giving, that going to have a documentary, with a Maasai woman, these are classic examples of barriers that have been broken through beekeeping, and we are proud to be part of this movement.
Yeah, let me finish with these. Okay, Africa is the motherland of the old world, and it represents an asset, an incredible asset in terms of biodiversity. And behind that, there are also people like me, like you, that are living, and very, very many microeconomy. So little community that with little economy are surviving and are trying to make the best for their life. So what do you identify as key drivers of micro economy development in Africa, and how does beekeeping fit into this landscape?
No, thank you very much, Mauricio. You know, looking at the configuration of the African continent, we have a lot that is happening in terms of the efficient extraction and beneficiation of natural resources, yet there are quite a lot of impediments, if I can put it that way. So most of the economies are still more dependent on the microeconomic activities. However, the 3 or 4 or 5 key drivers that I have seen that also resonates with the beekeeping sector, that is access to information. I've given an example that we have a lot of families that have been doing beekeeping, a trade that has been passed on from their grandfathers and great-grandfathers. But because there has not been access to information relating to how viable this can be, that one can make a living out of beekeeping. We have such initiatives neglected, and if it is hives, they are not inspected, or they are not taken care of, because there isn't any access to information relating to how viable this can be. So as for starters, for us to have any development of some sort, we need to have information that tells people that this is the direction that we need to take, and because of ABCD in terms of the benefits. So this is what is also part of the initiative that the Regional Commission for Africa is doing in trying to provide access to information on the importance of bees and beekeeping to our environment, to mankind, to food production, and I think this is helping enough, because people are now beginning to see what they used to look as ordinary. Because we're talking about these locally available materials as materials that can be used to for the communities to generate income. So access to information is is a very key important driver to macroeconomic development in Africa, if we're looking at it from a household level point of view. If we also look at the issue of access to market, is a key driver, because no matter how much we can be blessed with, say, a resource, if there isn't any way where it can be converted into a monetary value, then it is as good as not being valuable. So access to constant and reliable market is very important. And as a commission, we're really making a lot of effort to expose our beekeepers to the possible markets through especially the regional and international markets, through encouraging the stakeholders to attend regional events. Like now we have the Apimondia Congress that is happening in Copenhagen. We had done quite a lot of work to promote the Congress for communities to put their resources together to secure an exhibition space, so that they're able to have their honey being exposed to the market. In other words, we're creating access to the market for the beekeeper, so that they're able to get value for their natural honey and beeswax. The other key driver is access to finance and microcredit. This has been one of the biggest challenges in Africa, because many communities are underbanked, and access to funding to fund to expand their beekeeping projects. Say someone has started with 10 hives from his or her savings, but now to expand them to commercial levels, they need some kind of financial support. But because of lack of this access to financial options, it is a challenge. But however, we are seeing a number of communities now coming up with what might be considered to be informal funding options, like stock fairs, where people come together as clubs and start lending each other money. It's like they give each other a chance to receive money, and we're seeing that making a huge difference, especially if you look at communities like in Kenya, where we've got the SACCOs, or the cooperative banks, that have really done very well, and they've supported many smallholder entrepreneurs. The other enabling or a key driver to macroeconomic development in Africa is to do with the enabling environment that promotes the upcoming entrepreneurs, or young people, to invest in business. This can be in terms of the policies. I'll give an example. Countries being, they're getting to a point where they realize that the beekeepers need to be protected in the form of protecting the bees. Beekeepers are losing their colonies because farmers are spraying killing pesticides in their farms, which is really creating a serious problem with beekeepers. The other issue that I can talk about in terms of enabling environment is incentives that should be provided for beekeepers to be able to import equipment that will ensure that the quality of their honey they are churning on the market is acceptable, and also other mechanisms that would encourage even small-scale beekeepers to come in the fall. And lastly, skills development. This is very critical. We need to be alive to the fact that we need to have the requisite skills for us to be able to produce honey. Is the bees that produce, for instance, if I use that example, it is the bees that produce. But the way we handle the honey from the hive to the shop, we need to be trained for us to be able to provide quality products that will be acceptable. So in a nutshell, those are some of the key drivers of microeconomic development in the beekeeping sector in the region.
Thank you very much, David. As a closing, I'd like to remind to our audience that we are, for this reason, producing a series called Buzz of Transformation, which is more than a simple series, a global impact project. And, we believe that there is a lack of consciousness about the importance and the real role of bees, for the life of your people, for the biodiversity, for the security of food, and for very many other things, including, the social innovation and development, as you were very well describing. So thank you very much for this wonderful conversation. I'm very glad that we've been having you with us, and I really hope we can see each other very soon, maybe in Ethiopia.
No, thank you very much. And indeed, Buzz for Transformation is going to make a huge difference on the African continent, because this information is needed, and we need to tell the story about the bees, that we need the bees, and we can make a living through interacting with bees. And see you in Ethiopia. Thank you.
Thank you again. So stay with us. We're going to make it one hive at a time. Bye-bye.
Yes. Thank you.